This might be a very short video this morning because I'm having trouble connecting, period. And one of the things I wanted to record today was, hi, my two beautiful, faithful women. It's easier to talk when someone's present. I wanted to talk about yesterday and the bees. There weren't any pictures or videos taken yesterday because we walked into a swarm of bees. And they weren't swarming like you normally think of swarming. They were spread out. Oh, so each of us had about 2 to 4 bees around us. And we were taken by a blue wolf medicine owl to the spot that the spiral is going to be built on. And of course, my concern is that the bees have taken over there. Hi, Zenobia. The bees have taken over there, and that's not going to be conducive to our ability to build a spiral. But then I would rather have the bees have a place than us find a way to get rid of them so we could build a spiral. But I always pay attention to nature. Nature is always priority for me. And so it was really beautiful to be with all the people there. Everybody went as still as they could. Everybody did their best to have the bees not sting them. I got one sting, and my leg, unfortunately, for the bee, I closed my legs at the wrong time. Another person got a couple of stings. But all in all, we really honestly did our best to have there's a disruption in the background for me. It's just a fork, but it'll record, and it also throws me off, but we'll include, okay. So the phenomenon of yesterday was quite extreme, actually. The place is beautiful. It's right beside a medicine wheel. It's right where everybody will see it. That drives up there for a sacred ceremony. It's got an incredible area to park. And it was really quite beautiful. And the phenomenon of the activity was so in the moment, because every single moment we had to be paying attention to how we moved, and that we didn't get stung, and that we weren't antagonistic towards a creature that I think is just passing through. So when I lived with Georgia and Maryland, we had beehives, and I don't know, maybe about an hour in, sorry, this is the only way I know to do it. So we were the only place that the bees were. And so it obviously had something. It was obviously a something. So it was really beautiful. I turned around and we were piling rocks in different areas. Kea and Blue Wolf Medicine Owl had discussed where to put them. Thank you all for coming back on. Where to put them, and I'm determined to have this conversation. So hopefully Jackie can piece all the videos together. So the point is that I looked around and I said to everybody, they're thirsty. And I put some water out for them, and then I saw that Liz and maybe another had made little baggies in these rocks, and put water in them, and the bees were going to they were drinking. They were in truth thirsty. And it's probably one of the greatest gifts of my life, the contribution of connectedness that I get to see, and the people that I exist with, and the people that I operate on behalf of. Great, Sylvie. You guys are great. In and out, in and out, in and out of internet service. Here we go. So it's really great to watch the unity between these bees that really were in our faces, literally, and us. And yes, I have a concern. If they stay there, we have now put out over 200 rocks, and we will not be able to build a spiral very easily. But the purpose of owl medicine is to go into the dark to find the light, basically. And very similar, very much like the work of the field of Tantra Maat, it's that everything's part of everything else, everything operates on behalf of everything else, and everything has a place. Everything is about connection, everything is about relationship, and how in the times ahead we could find ourselves very frightened by things that have occurred and are occurring, sorry. But if there's a way to just look for the connection, and the bees were definitely craving. They were craving water. And part of a human body is blood. And so they could feel the water in our body. We're like, 70% water? They could feel the water in our body, and they were searching for water. With everybody online, would you just hold that the internet holds? Human beings can do a lot when they're not just taking. Just give your electromagnetic field a chance to hold the internet for me. I would really appreciate it. So all night I went to bed. I actually slept, 10 to 12 hours. I didn't really know I was tired because I'm not sure I was. I was just deep in the matter of the bees. I was just deep in the inward. What happened? Sorry about that. Then I have a very active Siri. I did. It didn't change anything. It was worse, actually. Thanks. Jackie was just asking me if I changed from Wi-Fi to phone. It didn't. It worked worse the other way. So the point is that there's always something craving. It's craving to stay alive, so it can create and sustain and maintain itself and embody what it came to be here. It just is that way. There's not anything else. There's not anything else. The other thing is that the other part of this is that very few of us, very few human beings, because they so fear the dark, they've never learned to walk with it. They've never learned its gentleness or its power, like death. They've never learned its transformation, transmutational power. Like in death, you get much closer to those you love than you do when you're alive, even. And it's so close to the intimacy of life itself that most human beings fear it. And we're coming upon Halloween, or Hallows Eve, or All Saints' Day, or the Day of the Dead, any of the above. And there is a darkness upon us. There's a darkness that's rising. And we could say it's one of two things. We could say it's evil human beings or evil powers, or we could say that the darkness has not been in balance with the light. And about all night I dreamed, but I dreamed in a way. Sometimes I have a mind that isn't human. It isn't alien. It's just sentient, I think. I'm like in the fabric of creation's mind. Thank you all, it's holding. Saw him, sorry, and I left one out. And I just was in the mind. I call it the mind of the mother. I call it the mind of the primordial. I never quite know. It's not like, but it's just not like being human. That's the only way I can explain it. Because how could I understand, and how could I relate, and how could I be connected to these creatures if I couldn't get somewhere that both our needs were met? My need to have people not stung when they're putting down rocks, and that they have a way to pay attention without bees all over them. And their need to take their queens and swarm and find a place to live that has water and nectar, and all the trees are dry here. They're starving. And we're building a spiral where the bees were and maybe are. There's just something about love there with us in the field. With us in the field. And this is how I know life. This is how I know creation. This is how I know intelligence. Intelligence doesn't separate itself from itself. Intelligence finds a way. When you're starving or when you're thirsty, whether it's for love or for food or for water. And the bees were simply being what there is to be when your survival's at stake. With us in the field. And they got water. They also got an apple. Threw my apple out, my apple core out. And we'll see. Well, because in the etheric territory, you can restore the intelligence that has life exist as whole. In the etheric territory, the spirit world, Blue Wolf Medicine Owl is going to go up in the early dawn of the 3rd, and he's going to build an altar. I'm not sure this is going to hold much longer, so I'm going to complete. The piece I just wanted to say, hopefully before I get cut off, is that the etheric territory, the spirit, is where we build back the craving. We build back the desire for life. We build back the respect for life. Hold on tight, and we build back the reverence for life, and all that we're ever centered on is life. We look to the outside world for our needs to be met. We don't look to the inward world of our own spirit. It's an amazing thing when you're inward spirit. I love that he uses that phrase. I don't use that phrase, and I like it. The inward spirit. You know, it is the most rich, nourishing, fulfilling, meets all measure aspect of a human being. And all life responds to our inward spirit. All life does. It just does. And it was fascinating because the other part I want to say is that whatever's happening on that mountain is probably important. Whatever's happening could be very notable in time and space. He talked to me about when I showed him the power shield that we have to use to walk the spiral. He was startled because he'd been working on a medicine shield of protection for quite a few years in owl medicine, I apologize. And it was just an amazing moment for me in time because he said, do you think it would be, like he was, there's this phenomenon of asking permission because your honor and your reverence and your respect for life and for ritual is so huge that you don't want to do anything to disturb it. I've been having to deal with what I call the top of the hour phenomenon, where everybody thinks we're meeting at the top of the hour, and there's no prep. There's no preparing the space. There's nothing. It's called the top of the hour mentality. But not Blue Wolf Medicine Owl. Oh wow, it came back. Not Blue Wolf Medicine Owl. For him, there is only ceremony. There is only ritual. So the privilege I had in that moment was to say to him, you need to communicate with Piavra directly. Because in our world, in our white world, Piavra would be like our shaman, our medicine woman. That's who Piavra would be. And the one who minds the temple of humankind. And he is a shaman, a medicine man. And they'll communicate directly. He'll write me and I'll send it to Shama. I say, because she's who you have to ask how to bring these two medicines together. How to bring this medicine, this really white person medicine called spiral. And this native medicine called together. Which is exactly what I was shown. Needed to happen. And it's going to. Even if I have to order bee suits for it's going to happen. And when Piavra and Blue Wolf Medicine Owl figure out their combined ceremony, that what this intelligence would call the Mimzys, it isn't like what they ask of us. We don't have a terminology. We don't have an accurate terminology. It's all about meta points. It's all about bringing the original nature, the original design of things back into order and balance. It's all about taking the places that still remember, like the temple of humankind and the native born. It's like bringing those remembrances back into ceremony and anchoring them together so that remembrance becomes stronger than forgetting. And we've got a chance. We've got a chance to do something that powerful. Just us, crazy top of the hour people. So I'm waiting on his email to send to Piavra so they can share medicine. And Jackie, if you're on, would you keep this section all to itself when you put the others together? I'd like to send it to Piavra and I'd like to send it to Blue Wolf. Thanks, honey. Or Praline, if you can get hold of her. Just give me a minute. This is what brought me to this planet, is these incredible two-legged beings who had forgotten at the cellular level, and only a few of the creations stayed remembering, but even only a few of them became cultures that weren't destroyed. We know who they are in Africa and who they are in Australia, who they are in South America, and who they are in the North American continent also. And that was the key code. That was the key code. Because when Blue Wolf Medicine Owl spoke, he didn't speak of an individuated tribe. He spoke of the native born of all of the original tribe of human being that included all colors and all locations. This is powerful medicine. This is powerful medicine when a native-born medicine man speaks of us as one tribe. It means he carries the memory. It means he carries the memory. And the bees are after him almost worse than anybody. They could feel his healing power. And he never stopped holding in that way because that's who he is. So I don't really have a request. I'm really busy. I'm busy. Yesterday, Sarah and Janice were in the car, and I just answer the call, I guess. And there were two places. Michelle, there. Don't write anything. I'll start crying, and then I won't be able to talk anymore. But there are two places I wanted to go to, and so I said I wanted to go to the headwaters of the Shasta and bring water back here from there. But I also wanted to, when you reach a certain matrix of connection, whither thou goest, connection goeth, so to speak. So it's easier for me to cover a lot of territory because I don't have to announce myself. I've been connected, so the register is there, like the register for rain or the register for sun, it's just there. But I always have to go there. And so I wanted to go to the headwaters, and I wanted to go to, and Janice was leaving on Sunday, and she was in the car, and that was an incentive, and I wanted to go see the cinder cones. And the cinder cones, I wish there was a way for me to film when we drove past Weed. You can see the original mountain, like it's all exploded. But there's this huge, like, caldera, just huge caldera, that you could see these cinder cones, which were like the big volcano erupted, and then out of that big old volcano, you have these circular mountains, ranges that formed, and then you have two mountains that formed and came together, the dual to the non-dual, Shastina and Shasta. But then you have all these cinder cones around that were basically little volcanoes in that massive eruption that burped all over this land. And Sarah wanted to go see the entrance to hot springs, towards Hot Springs. And when we went to go to the headwaters of Shasta, I'm never lost in this area. I get completely lost. And we ended up at a dead end at the bottom of Black Butte, which was towering over us. And it was very clear we were being directed by the powers and forces of creation that we affectionately call the Mimzys more locally, but who knows what's all directing us now. And these incredible rocks. And so we stopped and we gathered rocks, and that's the picture I showed you. You can put your energy on them in the images. And then we went out. We looked for the turn for Stewart Hot Springs, because these kind of navigational points occur in strange and unusual ways. And by golly, when we made the turn towards Stewart Hot Springs, and all she said was she wanted to see the exit. And we began going down this road, and this road was where all the cinder cones were, as far as we could see. And then interestingly enough, I couldn't turn around. I kept saying I needed to turn around, and then we look up, and there's 5. And we basically made a loop, and there was 5. And then we come out on 5, and some of you might have seen the Facebook Live, because it blew us away when we came out on 5, and there was the mountain massive in front of us. And Janice played her music so that, the cars wouldn't be so loud. And then we just did a teeny little short video, Sarah and I, and just so you can capture the mountain, so it can be with you. It can be part of your anatomy, of your cultural consciousness. It's very significant to have ourselves be part of the geopathic intelligence of creation, and to restore our relationship to that, restore our capacity for being that geopathic intelligence. It's very significant. I have a very active series. I do not know how Siri became so alive on my phone, but every now and then she responds to what I say. And just then she responded, she said, "Give me just a second. I'm looking for a mountain." So I now have a living computer phone, and I'll have to see how for her and I to get in alignment about when she responds and when she doesn't respond. Because right now I think she's so happy to be alive responding that I may have to include her in my protocol from now on. So I wanted to say a couple more things. Now we're holding. One is that, so today we're going to go back to the site. We're going to unload our rocks, and we're going to go to a place. If there are no bees, then I will turn on the video, and I don't know if I can Facebook Live, but I will video it. And then if I don't Facebook Live it, and I'll upload it so you can see what we've done so far. Because for me, you're an essential part of everything we're doing. And that's great. And it's beautiful, and it's wonderful. And it's what makes this, there's this emotion, there's this sensory, vibrational, almost emotion, like being in soft water with everybody connecting in all over the world. There's something like a register for a memory of what it must be like for indigenous people that don't know themselves as separate. Just a feeling that there's a new register of what we are when we're all one. It's so soft. It's so real. It's so amazing. So then we'll go down. There's a place as we drive in that on this dirt road. It will drive in, and we'll go back and get some of the rocks that were on the way in, and we'll put those around, and hopefully the bees will have gone on and gotten what they needed from us, and now we're linked. The spiral's linked to the bee kingdom forever. Now, beautiful, because we gathered rocks in our shared energy. And then we'll eventually go up to Bunny Flats and gather rocks up there. And then we have Heather and Megan so far coming from Nevada City, and they're bringing rocks from all the rivers, the Yuba, the Sac down there, the American, and the Truckee. I think that's all of them. And so they're bringing stones from those rivers. Water, just think about, we're bringing river water stones. The rocks up here are lava stones, fire. They're bringing water stones. We're gathering lava stones, and we're gathering earth-made stones. Just think about it. Think about the alchemy of that, the magic of that, the incredible aspect of that. Just imagine that these stones are carrying water, fire, and earth. And B, air creatures. Just think about that. And then we have Srimat, Srimat, that's right, I get her name right. Srimat and her friend are coming from Southern California. And she's going to be here to build. And then if there are others, please let me know that are coming to help us. And then Blue Wolf Medicine Al is gathering people from his, and Al carries air, that's right, Ann, to also help us on November 3rd. And right now we're a bunch of women gathering stones on behalf of all life. So something that can be birthed. And just a little teeny speck on this gigantic planet. Just a little teeny speck. Where some amazing intelligence blew 600,000 years ago. Massive, massive mountain that became a circular range, and two mountains rose out of that womb, and you can see it. And as Blue Wolf Medicine Al says, our companions. Where two become one. Where two become one. So maybe the key for all of us on this call, and Praline, would you ask the people on Tapa Talk to, once Jackie pieces it together, poor thing, not poor thing, magic thing, maybe our gift to ourselves to build the power is to build the ability to be in the presence of the extraordinary, of the phenomenal coincidences and the amazing connectivities. Maybe just our ability to let that in is worth it all. Maybe it isn't about direction. What are we going to do and how are we going to fix it? Maybe it's about our awe and wonder and the grace we carry when we're in the presence of creation, and creation is in the presence of us. Maybe that's our magic. Maybe. I want to show you the altar that Kea made and these funny lights we have, because this house is put together for karaoke. Music. So I'm going to turn this around. So there's our altar. You can see the karaoke, sky, celebrations. Thank you, Jackie. Whenever is good enough for me. And this, I can't get it to move. Hold on, let me see if I can get there we go. And this is the altar. And on the kachina with the hoops was given to me by Nikki, as well as an Acoma pot from New Mexico. And that's the hoop medicine man. And then interestingly enough, on the, what would be my right, the woman, so that's the hoop medicine man right there. And then the middle one is a painting about Falco and Damanhur. And then to the right, interestingly enough, is, whoa, sorry about that. Sorry about that. And the one on the right is, I think she's, now that I'm, hey, Kaya, would you walk over and see what she says she is on the bottom? Do something weird with my, can you bring it closer? Here.
Offering bundle.
Here, let me. Yeah, she's Mother Crow, Katina, by a native born, by a, here she is. Here she is. Okay. Hold on, I'm doing theater without capacity. There she is. There she is. And now will you bring the other one? Just say. And this is hoop. Just change them. And here's the hoop dancer. So I'd like to be reverence for the native born all over our globe that have carried the memories. And if you all post your own images, your own remembrances, anything that connects us back into the origination memory, that would be so fine. I love you all. Precious day. Thanks for hanging in.